we've all caught ourselves shouting some of football's most common sayings. It's an early bath for him, hoof it, and get stuck in are all sayings that are rather self-explanatory. But we've also all had moments where we've uttered a footballing cliché, stopped, and wondered to ourselves, where did that come from? Well, today we're going to find out. I've traced back the origins of 10 of the most bizarre but common sayings you will hear in the stands, touchlines, and podcasts of the footballing world, in the aim of putting your curiosities at ease. And so, as I try my best not to sound like a posh southern version of HITC 7s, let's have a look at the origins of 10 of football's most common sayings. Number 1, taxi for insert manager name here. Often uttered where manager sacking has become inevitable, this saying can trace its origin back to a similar situation. Former Manchester United captain Johnny Kerry had served as manager of Everton for 3 years and guided them to 5th place. However, Toffee's chairman John Moores took the saying, "nothing but the best is good enough," quite literally, and sacked Kerry in the back of a taxi. The saying has stuck ever since. Number 2, nutmeg. This saying can trace its origins back to the 19th century. Nutmeg was often exported from North America to England and became an extremely valuable commodity. Many dishonest traders tried to preserve their stashes of the spice, often replacing it with wooden replicas in the sacks being shipped to Blighty. To say one had been nutmegged was to imply the victim was a fool and the trickster was a genius. The saying later found its way into football, as when a player has the ball played through their legs, they have been tricked, aka nutmegged. Number 3, clean sheet. Back in the early days of reporting football, reporters would record the scores on a piece of paper. If a team did not concede during a game, the person reporting it did not have to write anything against the players' names due to score remaining low, and the sheet of paper handed in would remain clean. Hence, the team who hadn't conceded would have a clean sheet. Number 4, the magic sponge. When the Football League started in 1888, many injured players seemed to magically recover when the sponge was brought onto the pitch. The reason for this is the person responsible for the medical welfare of the players would run onto the pitch with a bucket of cold water and a sponge. The thought of being doused in cold water made many players scared, and they would suddenly run to avoid getting wet. The sight of the sponge caused players to suddenly get better, henceforth being known as the magic sponge. Number 5. Who ate all the pies? It is commonly said that this started out with legendary overweight goalkeeper William Falk. However, I am afraid that is not the case. The tune to which this song is sung is from Knees Up Mother Brown, a song released 2 years after Falk passed away. The origins of it seem to be far more simple. There's long been a tradition of fans enjoying a pie at half-time in English football, and on any occasion in which there weren't enough pies to go around, any player showing signs of being overweight would receive the query, "Who ate all the pies?" With the saying commonly uttered and the song's lyrics easy to remember, it is clear to see how this chant caught on. Number 6, squeaky bum time. This saying can be attributed to one of football's greats. In 2003, Manchester United and Arsenal were locked in a title race, one which would see the Red Devils emerge victorious. In the build-up to her title's climax, Alex Ferguson said, "It's squeaky bum time, and we've got the experience to cope." The saying alludes to a tense period, during which the seat one is sat in can be heard squeaking as they fidget constantly with nerves. Number 7, hat-trick. Whilst most commonly associated with football, this saying actually traces its roots to cricket. In 1858, H. Stevenson bowled 3 consecutive wickets during a game between an All-England 11 and Hallam. In recognition of his achievement, a collection was held to reward him, and Stevenson was presented with a new hat purchased with the proceeds. Number 8, back to square one. Whilst not solely used for football, it is indeed a beautiful game where this saying was born. When football first appeared on the radio, to help visualise the game, the pitch would be divided into a group of imaginary squares, and the commentator would tell the listener which square the ball was in. Square 1 would be in front of the goalmouth. Therefore, if the ball went out for a goal kick or was passed back to the goalkeeper, the game would have gone back to square 1. Number 9, Panenka. In 1976, Czechoslovakia faced West Germany in the final of the European Championships. The game went to a penalty shootout. Czech midfielder Antonin Panenka would step up with the chance to win it for his side. He ran up before delicately chipping the ball into the net to win the European Championships. Such a daring act in a pivotal moment has seen any chip penalty bear the name Panenka ever since. Number 10, Purple Patch. Any player on a decent goal-scoring run is said to be experiencing a purple patch. The saying can find its origins all the way back to Roman times. Due to the rarity of purple dye, the colour was preserved for the robes of emperors. As a result, the sight of something purple was striking and would later become a literary term, as important messages in books were often highlighted in purple to make them stand out from the rest. As sport has evolved, it has grown to reference a standout period of success in a player or team's form, aka a purple patch. So those are the origins of 10 of the sport's most bizarre sayings. I hope this video has satisfied your curiosity and given you a little history lesson. So the next time you see a player nutmegged, think back to the spice trade, and when you next hear someone calling for a taxi for a manager, think of how awkward the cab ride must have been for Johnny Kerry and John Moores. Cheerio.